Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. Today, I'm asking you a question. Do you notice what is changing? Good question. Are you ready? Let's get started. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of taking a pot of room temperature water, putting it on your stove, and then putting a frog in that pot. Now, once you put that frog in that pot, that frog is capable of jumping out, but he's pretty comfortable. He's happy to just hang out there. And so he or she is hanging out in that pot of water, and you turn on the heat on the stove. The frog can still pop out, hop out, sort of whenever they want, but they're pretty comfortable. And as the water gets hotter and the water gets hotter, so the story goes is that the frog never jumps out, even when the water is boiling. Now, truth be told, I've never done this. I've never tried it for myself. I probably never will. But the reality is it's a little bit like a metaphor for our lives, isn't it? Because we know that some things are changing around us, but we don't always stop to think about the implications for ourselves. We are in our comfort zone often for a long time, and then suddenly we realize everything's different and nothing's quite working anymore, right? So I could give you some current examples of that as I record this, and that is that people's workplaces are changing. The changing workplaces, right? Like, you know that may be happening. You went fully remote. Maybe you're going back to hybrid. You're going to be in the office 2 days a week or 3 days a week or whatever. It's going to be different than it was. You're not giving much thought to that. But those changes eventually are going to impact what really serves you and impact your actual comfort zone. While you're in it, you're not noticing the change. Similarly, for the pandemic at large, we had a normal, and then we lived through or are living through everything, all the impacts and effects of the pandemic. And then we're coming out on the other side of that. And are we making adjustments that we might need to make because we're just living in this new comfort zone? Those are just a couple of examples. I could give you 100 more, and all of us would have personal situations that would cause these as well. So how do we avoid being the frog? Is a way I'm going to frame this, right? 3 ideas for you. The first one is to be more self-aware. Like, just be more aware of what's actually going on. There's nothing wrong with the comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about how things are going, but being more self-aware to say, is my current place of comfort actually serving me? Is it doing for me what I want? Or do I need to be aware that things are starting to change a bit? Second, translate events into personal implications. Like watching the news, okay, that's going to change. What's the impact going to be on me? Paying attention to what's going on in your industry or for your company, and how is that going to translate to me? And do I need to start thinking about shifting, tweaking, changing due to that? I'm really talking about being a little bit more proactive. And then, lastly, take a measured response, right? We all know people that a new piece of news comes out. The world's going to change. I'm going to change everything in my life right now because, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but I'm also not suggesting doing nothing. If we don't want to be the frog, we've got to pay a little more attention, think a little bit more consciously, be a little bit more proactive, and take a measured response to change as appropriate. If we do those things, we have a better chance. If we will notice what is changing around us and think about how that's going to impact us, we won't be the frog. We'll have greater success, be more comfortable, and more successful. Let me close with today's tweet. Don't be the frog that gets boiled in the pot of water. Notice your surroundings and be willing to change and adjust. Well, there's ongoing changes and adjustments we need in our working lives, right? And part of that relates to where we're going to work, what our workplace is going to be. And each week, we're talking about the very latest thinking, the very latest ideas, the very latest tactics and strategies to be successful in a world of work that might be remote in some way. We call it the Remote Work Newsletter. It's completely free. It's available to you. All you've got to do is sign up, and all the resources for doing that are right here on this page. I hope you'll do that, And I hope you'll be back next week for another episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.